Bloomberg Audio Studios. Podcasts, radio, news.
After Donald Trump's election victory in the U.S., traders are betting on good times for cryptocurrencies, with Bitcoin breaking the $90,000 barrier.
The market value of Bitcoin is now the 8th most valuable asset in the world, and it surpassed the total world's value of silver at $1.76 trillion.
It's incredible as even those in the crypto community watched what was happening this week with awe because it was such a stunning rise.
With the currencies growing increasingly popular among younger people, are African governments wary of unregulated markets able to stand this latest onslaught?
The crypto space, the fintech space is a new deal. And being a new deal, as regulators, we are always very cautious. We need to understand it properly. We need to review it properly. We need to also be able to deal with the risk associated with that. One of the twin aims of the SEC is investor protection. And of course, the other one is market development. And in the space of that twin aim, we must do what we need to do to protect Nigerians and to encourage Nigerians, as the case may be.
On this episode of the Next Africa podcast, we'll look at how young people in Nigeria and Kenya are still using crypto, despite attempts to ban it, and what governments might, if anything, be able to do about it. I'm Jennifer Zabasajja, and this is the Next Africa podcast, bringing you one story each week from the continent, driving the future of global growth with the context only Bloomberg can provide. And joining us this week is Bloomberg's Bella Genga in Nairobi and also Emele Uno, who is in Lagos. Thank you both for being here. A really fascinating topic that I think a lot of people are plugged into right now, especially considering the price action. Maybe let's just start with the popularity of cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin on the continent right now. I mean, how would you assess how popular it is and really who the people are that are using it? Bella, maybe you start.
It's pretty popular. Young people especially are using it because they are tech savvy and it's efficient. They just go and participate on the platforms online. They don't have to get out of the house or the room and go and find it. And they are trading and making money, which is without leaving the house. So that's why it's very popular among young people in Kenya.
Emele, how about you from West Africa? What's your perspective?
Crypto is very popular among young Nigerians. It's mainly young Nigerians that are patronizing it, mainly those that are looking for smart ways of transacting business, earn good returns, and also protect their investment. So that's where we normally see the drive coming from.
I spoke to two guys and they've been in the crypto game since like 2020. And so they are enjoying the benefits, or they're enjoying the escalation of crypto because they can change and they can trade. Basically, these guys are making a lot of money. These young people are making a lot of money. They don't have to go to banks because in Kenya, the central bank issued a circular telling banks, we don't want to hear you guys are doing anything concerning crypto. So all of it is peer-to-peer at this point.
So that's one use case. I mean, people are making money, also transferring money peer-to-peer. Emele, are you seeing similar patterns? And what sort of tokens are people using?
It's mainly Bitcoin here. Every other one is like an exception. They are not popular.
And Emele, I mean, what is the attraction from the perspective of the people that you've spoken to? Is it about making money? Is it about speculation? Is it a game? Is it to evade sort of their own woes that their local currencies are experiencing? I mean, what do you think?
In Nigeria, those actually going for Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, the attraction is mainly as a store of value. That is mainly to preserve their wealth. So, but there is the element of speculation because they are doing it to have kind of sharp appreciation on their asset within a very short time. But the main thing is that loss of confidence on the naira, loss of confidence on the local currency is making people go to it, especially the young people. They want to try new things.
Bella, a few months ago, we had you on the podcast and you were talking about a lot of the movement that we were seeing in Kenya in response to cost of living and how a lot of it was young people and how they were communicating online. I mean, I wonder, if we're seeing some of that same chatter happening right now, especially as we see the prices of these cryptocurrencies, continuing to escalate. Are you hearing them talking potentially about this being an opportunity to store value, like Emele was saying?
Yes, it's definitely an opportunity. If you look at it, Bitcoin is up above 93,000. So you can imagine the people who are already participating in that space in 2020. And if you look at the unemployment rate in Kenya, it's pretty high. The Kenyan government is under pressure to increase revenue collection in the form of taxes. And so the living expenses have gone up. And when you consider people who don't have jobs, these young people who get a lot of income online, this is a space that they're particularly very keen on and are playing at. The people who are basically smiling and laughing all the way to the bank are people who started playing before actually 2000. I met one of the participants, or one of the investors in this space, got in very, very early. He's building a house. He's okay.
Bella, Emele, stick with us. When we come back, we're going to talk about how regulators are reacting to this increased use, and if there's anything they can really do to stem the increasing use and the tide that we're seeing with crypto. Welcome back. Today on the podcast, we're looking at the impact of the booming cryptocurrency markets, especially since the U.S. election. And we're seeing the prices of not just Bitcoin, but other cryptos rising, lifting all tides, as we could say. Emele, Nigeria has had a pretty fractured relationship with crypto, I think it's safe to say. Can you give us some history about where the country has been and where it's at now?
In 2020, young Nigerians used Bitcoin to fund a major protest against police brutality. So central bank was unable to track those flows, and it was a major concern to the authorities. So in 2021, central bank ordered banks to close all accounts operating crypto. They said it was a threat to the stability of the financial system. Then the next year, what we saw was that central bank now fined 4 banks for failing to comply with the order to ban crypto assets. Notwithstanding that, the analysis we got indicated that more Nigerians were piling up into crypto. The central bank this year blocked access to crypto exchange, that is Binance, making it very difficult or impossible for subscribers or crypto enthusiasts to continue to patronize that platform. And they also sued them for manipulating the national currency. The Nigerian Securities and Exchange Commission, which is the regulator for the capital market, has always seen the crypto asset as a security that should be regulated. And SEC believes that if it is regulated, it will make the participants in the market not to be sabotaging the economy, which actually has been the fears of the central bank. SEC also felt that there are a lot of young people in it. So if you don't regulate it, what it means is that a lot of them could be taken advantage of. So eventually, what we say is that there is now an agreement to regulate the market. And this year, they licensed 2 crypto exchanges. They want to get good understanding of how they operate. And if they are satisfied with what they are doing, then they will grant them a permanent license.
Wow. And that would be huge, of course, for the industry. And it's not, as you just described there, Emele, it's not been smooth sailing, of course. We've seen a lot of disruption, as you were just mentioning there. But also earlier this year, we talked a lot about the situation with the Binance executive and how that played out. Bella, let's bring you in. Can you talk to us from the Kenyan perspective? Because it's also not really been smooth sailing for crypto in East Africa either.
Absolutely. I remember in 2015, the Kenyan Central Bank issued a circular, actually basically declared during a press briefing that, look, one of the entities that were making it available, this was basically a crypto exchange. It was facilitating crypto trading and all that. It declared that this company has no license and therefore they do not have they cannot do any business in this country. And then that was followed up by a circular to all commercial banks asking them not to do any kind of business with anything sounds like, smells like, looks like crypto. And what has happened is today, if the crypto enthusiasts are still using the banks, they found a way of using the banks. But if a bank realizes or finds out that a particular entity or company is trading or dealing with crypto, they shut down the bank accounts. We've had some of the exchanges getting shut down because they're not getting licenses and there's no regulation in this space for crypto. They have been forced to find a way around it. And one of the ways is to open different bank accounts with different banks. And that's how they're able to survive or, continue to earn from this trade. The other thing is any regulator who finds out that you are participating or have any business to do with crypto, they will shut you down as well. There's still no regulation on cryptocurrency. It's not allowed. It hasn't been banned. So that people who are participating in crypto or dealing with crypto are playing in a gray space. So the absence of regulation, it's not hampering people, and people are still able to deal and participate in that place, in that space, basically.
Before we wrap up, maybe Emele, can you take us through what you're watching for next? There's a lot that's up in the air, including the price of some of these cryptocurrencies. But what should we be watching for next?
What everybody is watching for, including those that are into crypto and those that are not even into crypto, what everybody is watching out for is the type of regulation that will be in place from next year when SEC will give permanent licenses to the two operators. If it is satisfied with how everything is operated, then those two operators will be given permanent licenses next year and be given a guideline how to operate. That is the next thing everybody is looking out for. Will SEC deny those two people the permanent licenses, or will it make the conditions stiffer for them to operate?
For as long as the authorities do not have visibility, they cannot measure, they cannot manage these spaces. So we'll see how the government or whatever kind of regulations that the states will try to come up with on this space will play out. Because for as long as they don't have visibility, how do they proceed? You will not see any crypto enthusiasts coming to volunteer, right? Still waiting to see that happening here.
And you can, of course, read our full coverage of crypto across Bloomberg platforms. Here's a few other stories we're watching in the region this week. Resolute Mining shares were temporarily suspended as Mali demanded the Australian gold miner pay about $160 million to resolve a tax dispute that's seen its chief executive officer detained. Terry Holohan and two colleagues have been held in the capital, Bamako, since late last week after the Resolute boss traveled to the city for meetings with the nation's tax and mining authorities. The detention comes as the military rulers of Africa's third largest gold producer ratchet up pressure on mining companies to renegotiate contract terms. And South Africa started allowing some movement at its main border with Mozambique on Thursday morning after protests prompted a suspension the day before. Mozambique has been racked by the worst election unrest since the end of its 16-year civil war in 1992, after opposition leader Venancio Mondlane claimed victory in an October 9th election that official results showed the ruling party won by a landslide. And you can follow these stories across Bloomberg, including the Next Africa newsletter. We'll put a link to that in the show notes. This program was produced by Adrian Bradley. Don't forget to follow and review the show wherever you usually get your podcasts. I'm Jennifer Zabasajja. Thanks as always for listening.